According to a 2013 UNESCO study, a staggering 124 million children and adolescents do not have access to formal primary education. The numbers may actually be higher, but the tools and measurements to get more accurate figures aren't really available. Well, one person who's trying to lower those numbers is social entrepreneur Matthew Clough. His company Stone and Cloth, specializing in backpacks and totes, donates a portion of its proceeds to a scholarship fund for Tanzanian school children to ensure that their classroom time is supported and subsidized. And to think this all started when Matt climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. Matt Clough joins me now from Detroit, Michigan to fill us in. Hey, Matt, welcome to Full Frame.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. Well, Matt, as I just said, this all began because you climbed a really high mountain, Mount Kilimanjaro. How did this all come about? What happened?
Yeah, so I mean, it started. I was in college at the time, just really excited about and kind of obsessed with climbing mountains. And a buddy and I both wanted to climb the Seven Summits, which is the highest peak on every continent.
Wow!
And we had the chance to go to Africa to climb Mount Kilimanjaro and check one of those mountains off the list. So I ventured out and started training, and ended up going to Africa and climb Mount Kilimanjaro. So that's how it happened, and it's the only, out of the Seven Summits, it's the only one that I've accomplished, but hope to get to a few others in the future.
Okay, but you got sidetracked because obviously you decided to start this company that was going to help educate children in Africa. So tell me where that all came about and how you were inspired to do that.
Of course. So I was, as I was climbing the mountain, when you're climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, you have porters with you, and they're waking you up with tea, they're cooking your meals, they're carrying your heavy rucksack as you're just sort of carrying like a small day pack. Yeah. And over the course of the 4 days climbing up to the summit, you get to know them pretty well, pretty intimately. And they're just the most charismatic, wonderful people. There was one in particular, Benson, that I really just sort of connected with. He was just such a cool guy. And then I started learning more about just sort of like the area in Tanzania, and learned that some of them don't get work often enough and sometimes don't get paid enough to put their children through school. So I came home, I kind of had this reverse culture shock when I got home after being over in Tanzania, and really just wanted to do something to help. And knew that I wanted to do it about education. I went to school for design. I grew up sort of creating. I've always been a creative guy. So I thought, why don't I design a backpack that sort of represents the backpack that I used going to school every day, and then partner with a nonprofit and have your purchase provide 25 classroom hours for a student over there. So that's how it started.
Right. So your effort obviously is grassroots because you kind of started on your own and you designed these backpacks and totes on your own. So what was that like, just getting started in that way?
Yeah. When I started, I had just graduated from college. I had another job at the time, and I literally had to borrow $250 so I could buy a used sewing machine and and buy some canvas. So I was actually the one that made the first 20 or 25 backpacks.
Wow.
Selling them to friends, and then I kind of realized that wasn't, very scalable, at which point we found some factories and some sew shops in Los Angeles that now produce all the goods for us.
Okay, let's talk about who this benefits. As I mentioned in the intro, you're trying to help those who aren't getting the proper education and helping to subsidize actual classrooms and supplies. So tell me a little bit about where the money goes and how it's used.
Yeah, of course. So, like I said, your purchase provides 25 hours of classroom learning for students. That's sort of the baseline. We've helped out with other stuff, with lunch programs and school supplies, and help out where we can beyond that. But primarily, I really just focused on providing scholarships, and we do that with a nonprofit partner. We found a nonprofit partner called Knock Foundation. They have their boots on the ground in the foothills of Kilimanjaro. They have a scholarship program. So what they do is they vet different students that really want to be in the classroom. They have a great vision for their future, but don't necessarily have the resources to get to the classroom and actually go to school. So I knew that, I'm not the expert in education. I knew that I really wanted to partner with people that knew what they were doing.
Right.
And we found this great organization that really seemed to. We just sort of clicked with them. They're a small organization. We also knew exactly where our money was going to be going, and really trusted them to do so. So, and also, just really, I feel like their values were aligned with ours, and it just felt like the right partnership.
And since you started Stone and Clough, how many kids or how many schools have you been able to help so far?
Yeah, so we're on track right now. The way that we sort of our ticker or marker is how many classroom hours we've supported, and we're on track to provide over 25,000 classroom hours for students. And as we're starting to figure out how to continue to grow, we're thinking about bringing on different partners, and hopefully we'll continue to push that forward.
Let me go back, though, in terms of how you go about choosing the kids who you subsidize and the classroom hours that you give. You mentioned vetting, and I know you do a lot of that, and that also includes vetting the families, too, because that's an important factor in the success of the kid, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's a really big part of it, and that's a big part of the reason why we partnered with the people that we've partnered with. First and foremost, it's when I wanted to help, it was because there was that problem. I think the first thing to do is really start with asking questions and figure out, like, if you want to help someone, figure out what they actually want and then go from there. Yeah. So making sure that these students actually want to be in the classroom was really, really important, and also making sure that they have like a vision for their future was also important. Beyond that, if they didn't have the support at home from their family, then chances are they were going to be really distracted in the classroom and weren't going to be getting the benefits of actually being there. So one thing that the Knock Foundation does is they make sure that the entire family understands the value of the scholarship so that they're getting the most out of it. One specific story, I was talking to Kim from Knock, and she was explaining to me that they had a student in the scholarship program, but he wasn't eating his lunch. What he was doing was he was taking his lunch home to share it with his family. Oh, man. And when it comes to being in the classroom, like, if these kids aren't eating, then they're not going to be able to focus. They're going to be very distracted. They have all this other stuff on their mind. So, like, really just making sure that the family environment is positive, and they're also, there's food and the basic needs are taken care of is really important.
Right. The support system has to be there, but boy, how heartbreaking that he was taking his food home to help out his family, too.
I know, yeah.
Matt, what's next for you guys, then? You just keep doing what you're doing, or do you have some expansion plans? Well, what's next?
Yeah, a really sort of like big thing for us is really just focusing on our primary objective. We really just want to be a business that's valuable to the world, and we've sort of found sort of like where we hang our hat is really, providing these jobs in the U.S. and making really, really high quality products in America, and then providing scholarships. So we're really just hoping to be a part of this movement of social businesses that really want to use business as a force for good.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great mission. And Matt, I share your love of climbing. I actually went to Everest and climbed up to Kalapatar.
Oh my God.
So. Wow. You might want to go there next if you have the time.
Yeah, that might have to be my next stop for sure.
Okay. All right, Matt, thank you so much for your time. Great work you're doing. Love your products, and good luck to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, coming up next, this week's full frame close-up, so stay with us.